goes my unread books. Hey everyone, and welcome to March's TBR Assemble. This month is going to be a little bit different because of the prompt I got from my Gwenpool adventure, which is to basically read whatever I want this month, because this month is my birthday month, meaning that I can choose whichever cards I want from this pile of TBR cards. So let's get into exactly what I picked and what I am reading. So today we are not going to be using a Lego thing, as I said a minute ago, because I'm just going to be choosing whatever I want from all of these cards. So I'm going to start with the fantasy section, and I am literally just going to be going through it this way. Don't really want to read a purple book, don't really want to read Shadow Hunters, don't really have anything from the library I need. Quick read, that's maybe middle grade. Could do fantasy for a vlog project. No, maybe not. Finish the series, yes, okay. First one I'm going for is I Am Iron Man. I want to finish a series. So my first prompt I pulled was I Am Iron Man, which is to finish a series. I should mention quickly as well, before I actually get into exactly what I'm reading, I'm going to be doing 2 readathons this month, and absolutely everything I'm also reading this month is from people who I already know I really enjoy. The 2 readathons I'm doing is Middle Grade March and the Marvelathon. I'm on Team OG for that, so that's the original Avengers, but I basically have a book for basically every prompt. And with that, the series I'm finishing is When Villains Rise, which is the final book in the Market of Monsters series by Rebecca Schaeffer. I always describe this as basically like this fantasy world where monsters exist, and our main character is basically Wednesday Addams. I love this series. It's got all of the moral greyness I could ever wish for in a book. It is brilliant. It is plot twisty. It is so good. It speaks to my Wednesday Addams Halloween slasher heart in a lot of ways, and I just love it, and I cannot wait to finish this series. And this is actually going to be covering the prompt of Black Widow, which is to read a dark prompt for Marvelathon, and obviously nothing for Middle Grade March because this is not a middle grade. Second pick, I'm going to carry on with the fantasy because that's my main genre. Okay, quickly going through to where I haven't gone before. Right, red and black covers, maybe 3 choices, and maybe I'm going to go with Nebula, a book from the priority list. My next prompt was Nebula, which is to read a book from the priority list, so I have gone for The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. I've been waiting to read this one for a really long time. I've heard it's slightly superhero-y, but either way I don't really care because I know I really enjoy N.K. Jemisin's fantasy work, and I've heard amazing things about this series, and this one is going for the POC rep because I know that N.K. Jemisin usually has POC rep in all of her books, and then also it's counting for the Scarlet Witch prompt of an alternate reality, because this is basically an alternate reality where cities are sentient, if I remember rightly, or every great city has a soul. Yeah, that's right, so cities have souls in this one, and I'm just very excited to read it. Next up, I want to go for some comics because I usually do. Let's see. Gonna go for just having a quick look. What am I feeling like? Ajax. I want to continue a series. I know exactly which series I want to continue, so definitely going for Ajax, continue a series. My next prompt was Ajax, which is to continue a series. This is in the comic book sort of section, so I'm going for Reign of X. I'm actually planning on finishing this series. So excited to do that, you have no idea, because Reign of X is the current X-Men run, or was the current X-Men run. We're now on to Trials of X, but it's basically the current X-Men run that I'm reading. We're heading in towards the first Hellfire Gala, which is like this huge thing where all of the heroes are invited to Krakoa for one night to have this big gala with the X-Men, which is so exciting. You've also got the fact that Legion has just shown up, Onslaught is coming, so many other things are happening. It's so exciting. I cannot wait to finally finish this series and then go on and then buy myself the first few that have been released in the Trials of X series for my birthday, because that was always going to be the plan, to be honest, and I'm just so excited to be very nearly caught up with the X-Men series. So so excited for that, and it's also going to be giving me points for the Marvelathon as well, because one of the prompts for the Marvelathon where you can get some extra points for your team is to read a book where Marvel characters are in it. And obviously this is all about the X-Men, who are Marvel characters, and the Hellfire Gala will have a lot of other heroes showing up as well, which is just very, very exciting. So it may not cover any other prompts, but it counts for those ones, and I cannot wait to get to it. Just realised I also need to get Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy on there, so do I have any others apart from that one that it could fit for? Could go for a quick read, maybe continue a series. Book of Adam and Ion, continue a series, recent haul. Okay then. We're just going to use Loki to continue a series. My next prompt that I pulled was Loki, which is to continue a sci-fi series, so I'm going for Life, the Universe and Everything by Douglas Adams. This is the third book in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy series, which is part of the Don't Forget Your Towel Along, which is the read-along I'm currently co-hosting. I don't really know much about what this book specifically is about, because these books are basically plotless, vibey, weird sci-fi essentially, and that's all I really know, that's all I really want to know. And also this is covering the backlist book prompt, which is the sort of group prompt for the OG team for Marvelathon, because this was released in like the 70s. The pages are very yellow at this point, and they've been in my house my entire life as far as I can tell, so it's definitely a backlist book. I'm actually going to continue on with this one because in the sci-fi section, because there was just one that I saw that I could really do with. What was that one that I wanted to go for? Yes, Nick Fury Discworld, because I have not read that much Discworld this year, and I think it's about time I did. My next prompt was Fury, which is to read a Discworld book, so I'm going to be going for The We Free Men. Now, this one is actually going to be a reread for me, but I'm going to be listening to it via audiobook this time instead of reading it physically, specifically because the Nakmak-Feegle, which are these tiny blue men on the cover, are basically everything that I say is written phonetically. My dyslexic brain does not do phonetic spelling, so I didn't really enjoy it the first time I read it, but I'm thinking, if I listen to it, things may go a little bit better, so I'm going to give it another go. This one is also following Tiffany Aching as well, as she is basically sort of like a witch in training, and she ends up meeting up with the Nakmak-Feegle, and it all goes from there. This is also going to be a middle grade book, so it is counting for a book that has won an award other than a Newbery, and this has got a ton of awards on it. I looked on Goodreads and there's like a massive, great big like paragraph of different awards it's got, so it definitely counts for that prompt, and I cannot wait to give this a second go, see what I think about it this time, see if it works better for me when I'm listening to it compared to reading it. And finally, let's go for some own voices as well. So let's go for Vision, Shauna Maguire, because I do want to read some Shauna Maguire this month as well. My next prompt was Vision, so I'm going to be reading a Shauna Maguire book, and I'm going for Rosemary and Rue. I was meant to be reading Discount Armageddon in February, but spoiler alert, for that wrap up I just completely and utterly ran out of time for it, and this month I kind of wanted to see what Rosemary and Rue's like instead, because this one actually covers the Hulk prompt instead for Marvelathon, and it was just kind of calling to me that little bit more this month essentially, and I've got a really good feeling about this series specifically. Not that I don't have a good feeling about Discount Armageddon as well, it's just the fact that I think this one's gonna work for me that little bit more. I don't know. Either way, it's a Shauna Maguire book and I'm very excited to read it. And actually I'm gonna go for one more own voices just for luck. I know that's getting me up to 7, but I don't really care, so I want to go for... Wait a minute, I just passed it. Where did Charles just go? I've just lost Charles. No, that's Thena. Where did Charles just go? Right, Guardian Professor X. There it is. Disabled author or main character. I know exactly what I want to read for that. And then I went for a 7th prompt because apparently I was really feeling confident, to be honest, and to be fair I still feel quite confident actually, because I've got a couple of other books I also want to read this month that I'll go into in a minute. But my final prompt was Professor X, which is to read as disabled author or main character, so I'm going for Like a Charm by Elle McNichol. This is going to be own voices for the dyspraxic rep in here, and we're following a young girl in Edinburgh who can see magical creatures. That's all I really know, that's all I really want to know, because I just know that I really enjoy Elle McNichol's work, and I am so so excited to finally read this one. Like a Curse, which is the sequel, literally just arrived at my door this morning at time of filming, so I am just very, very excited to finally give this one a go. I could not go through Middle Grey March without reading an Elle McNichol book, and this one is covering so many prompts. It is covering disability rep for Marvelathon, and then it's also accounting for neurodiverse character, as well as published in the last year, and Sky on the cover for the Middle Grey March, because I'm counting it as Sky on the cover because there are stars around here. I don't know if you can see that, but there are definite stars around here, and I'm counting that as saying that it's got Sky on the cover. And yeah, I'm counting it as Sky. I know that's probably stretching it a little bit, but I wanted it to count for like another prompt as well, so that's why it's counting for that as well. I'm so excited to read this though. I've been like saving this for my birthday month because I know I'm going to really enjoy it, and I just wanted to read books I would really enjoy around my birthday month, and I'm so excited to finally read this one. I've heard amazing things. I fully trust Elle McNichol, and I cannot wait to read it. And then as for the two other things I also want to read this month, I've got Tilly and the Lost Fairy Tales, which is the second one in the Anna James series, Pages & Co., which is essentially just a love letter to books, in the sense that Tilly can book wander, so she can go into books and also read characters out of books as well. I did a full reading vlog where I read the first book in this series along with Inkheart, to do with like book magic and that kind of thing, which I'll leave a link to up above. And I'm just so excited to continue this series. I love the first one so much. I cannot wait to see where this one goes, and it's also going to be counted for the prompt of Clint for Marvelathon. And then the final thing I have is Demon in the Woods, a Shadow and Bone graphic novel. This is actually by Leigh Bardugo and Danny Pendergast, and this one is literally the origin story of the Darkling. That's all I really know, that's all I really want to know. The artwork in here is absolutely stunning. I cannot wait to read this one. The Under the Dust Jacket art is also gorgeous as well, but I thought I'd read this one this month, A, because I really miss Grishaverse. I haven't read about the Crows or anything in a really long time, and also I'm just really interested in the Darkling because of the Shadow and Bone TV series, which is also out in March, and it always makes me want to dive back into the Grishaverse. I do not have time to read Six of Crows or Crooked Kingdom again. Well, I may do, but probably not, so I figured the next best thing is the Darkling origin story, which I have not read yet, and it's also a graphic novel, so I should be able to get through it quite quickly. So yeah, that is also on the list, and it's not covering any prompts as far as I know. And that is absolutely everything I'm going to be reading in the month of March. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me what you're reading in March. I'd love to know. Or if you don't have that much time, leave me a birthday cake emoji down below to let me know that you were here. I'll also leave a link as well down below to all of my social media if you want to check it out, including to the Comic Book Sanctum, which is my website dedicated to Marvel Comics, which has got a ton of stuff on X-Men reading orders, Ant-Man, everything else in terms of Marvel that I've just mentioned. It's all linked down below so you can check it out. I'll also leave a link as well down below to my Etsy and Redbubble store, which sells bookish merch if you're interested in that. Or if you just want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time everyone, bye!